Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Diego Castro. Philippine and U.S. troops kicked off their 3-week joint military exercises. More than 3,000 Filipino and U.S. soldiers are set to take part in the annual exercises called Salaknib. The Army-to-Army exercises will focus on enhancing the country's ability to protect its territory from external threats following a recent spate of harassment from Beijing in the disputed waters.
Developments in the region in the recent months have given the Philippine Army cause to shift its focus from internal security to territorial defense. This has also given us the impetus to develop our alliances and our partnerships with like-minded nations.
The drills come on the heels of the country approving increased U.S. military presence in the Philippines via the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. However, Beijing criticized the expansion of the deal, saying that the U.S. is only dragging the Philippines into Beijing and Washington's conflict over Taiwan. The Chinese embassy says by doing so, the U.S. is driving a wedge between China and the Philippines. But some lawmakers question China's stance. Senator J.V. Ejercito says he does not trust China, especially after its Coast Guard's aggression in the West Philippine Sea.
They claim to be a friend to the Philippines, but they are doing, what they are doing is contrary to what they are saying. Hindi talaga kaibigan ang trato sa atin. If they want us to trust them, they have to respect our sovereignty, our territorial integrity na 400, sabi ng DFA, more than 400 note verbali na. Protest ang pinadala sa China. What actions have they taken? Wala naman eh.
Multiple complaints have been filed against the suspects in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo and 8 others. Aside from murder complaints, the suspects are facing charges for illegal possession of firearms and explosives. Authorities now have 4 suspects in its custody and are zeroing in on a possible mastermind. A special task force led by Interior Secretary Benhur Abalos has yet to disclose details on this, as cases are still being finalized. Last week, the arrested suspects tagged a certain Congressman Teves as the brains behind the ambush. Negros Oriental Representative Arnie Teves, who is out of the country, has since denied involvement in the murder.
Alam kong kilala mo naman kung sino ka eh. At alam mo naman yung mga taong nahuli na namin at anong pwedeng magawa nito laban sa iyo. Sumuko ka na. Sumuko ka na. Mahirap ang pangalanan, wag muna natin pangalanan.
Congressman Teves' legal team is also appealing to authorities to look at all possible angles in the case. They said that it's possible that Congressman Teves is just being framed after claims that he's involved in East Sabong operations.
Kaya nga sabi ko, the investigator must explore all leads. Baka ibang motibo. Baka lang, hindi ko sinasabing totoo. Baka Sabong, Teves tag as mastermind. Walang nagtatag eh. May inambush interview sila. Sabi, may kausap po kami, si Marvin. Sabi, si Congressman Teves daw. Hindi naman acceptable yun eh. Hindi admissible yun eh.
Meanwhile, the National Police is investigating if there are lapses on the part of the security escorts assigned to Degamo. 5 of Degamo's police escorts did not report for duty on the day of the ambush.
Initially kasi, ang dyan is the 5 personnel na sinasabi na security ni Governor Degamo. Ito ay siya mismo ang namili. Kilala niya itong mga ito. And siguro they have to explain nga bakit but usually kasi yung 5 na yan may rotation kasi yan eh. Hindi naman ibig sabihin na everyday yung 5 na yan ay magre-report for duty.
Meanwhile, Degamo's remains was met by grieving constituents in a heartbreaking homecoming. Degamo's body was brought back to his hometown, Siaton, to give his family and other residents an opportunity to pay respects before he is laid to rest. Justin Punsalang with the rest of the details.
Ruel Digamo was born and grew up in Siaton. This was also where he began his political career, first serving as a member of the municipal council for 9 years. After that, he ran and won as a provincial board member, eventually becoming the governor of Negros Oriental at the death of the sitting governor and vice governor in 2010 and 2011. This morning, Siaton welcomed back its son. Residents from here and other nearby municipalities flocked to the gymnasium at the plaza to pay their last respects to the slain governor. They said they are both saddened and angered by Digamo's death. Fear is still gripping the province despite the heightened presence of police and military troops, since several suspects are still at large.
Naramdaman ko sa akong dibdib nga mayroong kaguol kakuan kay kalungkot.
Masakit. Namatay siya, bakit? Walang alam siguro.
Malungkot. Dahil mabait siya. Lahat-lahat. Galit at lungkot.
These employees of the municipal hall held black flags bearing the phrase "Justice for Gov. Digamo." Students from elementary to college missed their classes to condole with the Digamo family and the rest of the province. They came bearing white flags. Even criminology students participated in keeping the peace and order at the Siaton Plaza. In her speech, Pamplona Mayor Janice Digamo thanked the Negrenses for their support. Once again, he called for justice for her husband's brazen murder. She is also giving 5 members of the governor's police security the benefit of the doubt. The cops were supposedly missing on the day Digamo was gunned down.
Sa tingin ko, it is possible na what is in the list assigned to the governor may not be the exact number of people that stayed with him. Kasi nga, kung titignan nyo, yung nephew niya, board member. Yung anak namin, board member din. Ang alam ko, but I want this confirmed in the list, kung yung mga pangalan na nandoon, yun din ba yung naka-detail sa mga anak ko.
Digamo will be laid to rest in Bonawan on Thursday afternoon. For News 5, Justine Punsalang. We are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Cagayan de Oro Representative Rufus Rodriguez called on the Senate to act on proposals seeking to amend the 1987 Constitution, saying it is the will of the majority and a matter of courtesy. Rodriguez issued a statement in response to Senate President Miguel Zubiri's remark that charter change is not a Senate priority and it's unlikely to gain support from senators. Zubiri said that they need 18 votes to pass changes in the Constitution, but half of the Senate reportedly does not support the idea. Senator Robin Padilla is the one leading the push for charter change in the upper house. He stressed that the move only aims to amend the economic provisions of the Constitution and has nothing to do with the country's political structure. Other senators, however, said that without President Marcos's push, the Senate would not make Cha-Cha a priority.
we have not received any signal yet from the President himself. We have remained as the fiscalizer of government, but also we are very supportive of the administration's main programs because the success of the administration, the executive, will be our success as well.
Paniniwala ako pagka nabasa ng aking mga kasamang senador yung bill ko at narinig nila ako sa plenaryo at naniwala sila sa akin na economic provision lang ang gagalawin natin.
Advocacy group Center for Energy, Ecology and Development backs calls to hold accountable the owner of the oil carried by the sunken Princess Empress that spilled off Oriental Mindoro. Speaking to The Big Story, CEED Executive Director Jerry Arances says it's not just the ship owner but also the owner of the spilled fuel that should take responsibility for the oil spill. The 800,000 liters of oil carried by the sunken vessel was owned by SL Harbor Bulk Terminal Corporation, a subsidiary of San Miguel Shipping under San Miguel Corporation. Arances is also urging the government to be more transparent about the gaps in oil spill response.
We're urging the government to actually disclose and be transparent about the gaps so that civil society groups, the church, and local communities can actually, do their part in terms of helping the government to addressing this. Because at the end of the day, we are all affected on this. Because accountabilities and responsibilities should also be exacted on not just the ship owner, but actually the owner of the oil itself.
Arances also described as appalling how the government is still searching for the exact source of the oil spill 2 weeks since the vessel sank. The group is urging the government to speed up its response, especially as the oil spill is threatening to reach the Verde Island Passage by Thursday. Arances also called on local governments to mobilize affected coastal communities, especially fisherfolk affected by the oil spill.
There are many indigenous ways, especially taking off from the learnings of the Guimaras oil spill. That once you mobilize communities, they can do their share in terms of addressing or containing the oil spill. Unfortunately, yes, mangroves will play a very critical role, but it will also be affected.
Filipino actress Dali De Leon wears her cause in a black suit at the recently concluded 95th Academy Awards. On Instagram, De Leon shared that she wore a blue ribbon to stand in solidarity with refugees around the world. The ribbon supports efforts on the UN High Commissioner for Refugees who were forced to leave their homes amid major conflict in their nations. Many other celebrities like Kate Blanchett and Guillermo del Toro stepped out on the Oscars champagne-colored carpet wearing these ribbons. And that's it for this hour. Join us again at 7:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News. All sides, all the time.